is Heartwoods Haven, and I am your host, Brandy Swords. And my co-host today is Lynn Miner. And we have a special guest, Brad Durkin. Right? Say it right?
That's right, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we are so excited to hear about your nonprofit that you started. So please tell us who you are and all about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Brad Durkin. I'm a guy in long-term recovery from the Central Ohio area. And I work in the addiction field, so I've crossed paths with probably a lot of you guys and a lot of the listeners that are going to check this out too. But we recently launched, me and a handful of friends, a nonprofit called the Recovery Explorers Club. And essentially, we have found the therapeutic value in community and nature and outdoor activity. And when we were all kind of brainstorming about where we're at in our recovery and how we want to give back in like a totally selfless way, we were like, what a better way than providing those same experiences that helped kind of bring us back to life. So we're just getting started, and that's kind of the mission right now.
So where did the name come from?
Funny story, actually. So there's this show called Expedition Unknown, and I've always been fascinated with like explorers, early explorers that did the Arctic and the North Pole and things like that too. Anyways, there's this guy on that show named Josh Gates, and he runs something called, he doesn't run it, he's in like a really prestigious fraternity called the Explorers Club. So I looked it up, and it's like, you know, over 100 years old and like all these elite explorers on there, the first guy to the North Pole. And I was like, man, I want to be a part of that. So I like looked it up, and like in no way do I qualify to be a part of their Explorers Club, you know, but I couldn't let the idea go. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own. And then it all just clicked. I was like, oh my gosh, the Recovery Explorers Club, this is going to be for people like me, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's amazing because it's nature based. I love like seeing your picture and all that. I love being outside. That is such a big stress relief and, you know, just grounding. And so I love that's the way you're going with it.
Absolutely. You know, I watched the video you did with Melanie, and I know you expressed a lot of your love for the outdoors too. So yeah, outside the nature, there's so much value in it, in a therapeutic sense, in a physical sense, in every sense, really. So just to be able to like give that back to guys who might be looking for, or gals that are looking for, you know, their new passion or a zest for life, like what a better mission, you know?
So how many are in your club?
So right now we have our 5 board members. And what we did was we created like our nonprofit and then our official Facebook page, and people can follow all of our activity on there. But we also created a community group on Facebook too. And there's about a few hundred people on there now. And people are starting to plug in and say, hey, this is the sober adventure I had this past weekend, or this is what I like to do. And some of them are like motorcycle rides, and some of them are like yoga or kayaking at night. And it's just so cool to see all the different things that people that are in recovery are doing to fill their cups, you know?
Oh, and it is. Where's your favorite place to go when you are just like, I just need to release and you know, where's your place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my family has land that's been in our property or been in our family for a couple hundred years in Southeast Ohio in Vinton County. And growing up, I didn't really like appreciate it. You know, we had family reunions and things there, and it was like cool to go play in the woods. But when I got clean, I really, really built a connection with that property. So anytime that I need like a little reprieve or retreat, I'm going to the woods or the creek there. And sometimes my wife knows it before I do. She'll be like, hey, why don't you go hiking for a little bit, you know? So
yeah, I always say that. My husband will be like, hey, it's time out.
Exactly.
You just go in the woods, go hiking. And I love to go barefoot. That's my thing. So
yeah.
where I can go barefoot. I don't care if there's snow on the ground. I'm there. Like that's my thing.
I love to hear that. I'm a fellow barefoot enthusiast. I do barefoot running when I can, but I make sure to get my like 7 to 10 minutes of grounding in every day, and I wear minimalist shoes and all that granola type stuff. So we're in good company.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Lynn, she walks everywhere. I mean, she's dedicated. Like I'm working more on that, being more physical and walking and doing the miles. And yeah, I think it's amazing that you run barefoot. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's my knees are starting to not agree with it, but I'm having trouble giving it up,
I always say my feet are so tough. I was like, I mean, I could walk across, glass. I always say they are very tough. And I always grew up like that, always barefoot, never wanted to wear shoes. So I love it.
Heck yeah.
I'm a wimp. I don't even like to go barefoot in my house. So.
Well, you're inside. It's outside where you want to do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, what was the turning point for you to decide to get sober?
Honestly, I think mine's like it's a little unique and kind of beautiful in a way, because it really like highlights what I think the most important thing about all this is. So I went, I was in a mess here in Columbus in my active addiction for a long time. And I kind of got like swept off to treatment, through family and friends and things like that. And I was like open to the knowledge and receptive, but I wasn't really like, hey, this is going to be it for me. I'm ready to, be in recovery. Honestly, I was like, I'm going to do this until everybody's off my back. And then I'm going to go do whatever I was doing again. And honestly, I thought I could figure it out, like a lot of us did. I thought I could sort it out and do it on my own and be an at-home doctor and all those things. So anyways, I went to treatment, and they were like, hey, you can't drink, ever again, even though that was not your DOC. And I was like, yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
So I did after treatment, and I relapsed hard immediately, like within 40 hours, probably 24, 48 hours. So I came back up to Columbus. That was in Tennessee. And I came back up to Columbus, and I went to a sober living, and nobody really knew what to do with me. I was off the rails, disappearing all the time. And I went to this sober living, and I got kicked out. I didn't even make it a whole day. They kicked me out. So I went to Southeast Ohio, to that property, and I detoxed myself out there for a couple weeks. I went to a meeting every single day, and I did all these things that the sober living told me to do if they were to allow me back into their program. So even at that point, I wasn't like, I'm doing this forever. I was like, I'm riding this out, Yeah. So they eventually let me back in. And I just got like surrounded by a group of absolutely beautiful men. And like, I was shown love in a way that I had never experienced before. And I felt, sorry, I always get choked up when I talk about this part. I just felt like a part of for the first time. I was like, these are my people. They're dealing with the same exact things. And, I don't have to hide or be in the shadows here. It's like, this is it. So these guys that really pulled me into their community, that was the turning point for me. And then that like first month we started, and honestly, this nonprofit wouldn't exist if it wasn't for this part. We started like exploring abandoned buildings and climbing on rooftops and going cliff jumping and hiking and seeking out waterfalls and just swimming everywhere we could. And it was just like, one day I was like, dude, this is way better than what I was doing. I'm all in. So it took like the community and just sticking around until it stuck. And eventually I was like, I'm going to be the best at this. I'm all in. This is way better. So that's kind of the story.
And we talk about this all the time with mental health with men. I think it's harder. Do you think it's harder for men to open up with other men or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say harder because I don't want to speak for anybody else's story, but I do think like I think that a lot of us are kind of raised in this like tough it out, this is we don't talk about these things. And I know that's part of a lot of guys' story, but just like saying that, and it's so crazy to think now, but in all of those years of active addiction, it never crossed my mind to be like, hey, I'm struggling, I could use a hand. You know what I mean? Like that was like the craziest idea to me. So I do think it's harder to open up. And I mean, even now, I think that's something I have to like constantly work on, is like being emotionally available and identifying my emotions, for that sense, just being able to identify them in order to relay them. So it's always a work in progress for me.
I could relate with, when I first started going to meetings and stuff, and I was always like comparing out, I'm not like them, and what have you. And then I started feeling a part of. But I tell you, when about 2 years ago, when I had some mental health stuff going on, and for the very first time concerning my mental health, I went through a virtual IOP program. And all the times that I've been trying to work on my mental health, it was the first time that I ever felt that I belonged somewhere. And I can relate with that. You get choked up. It's just something about it. You're not alone.
Yeah. Question: do you think that do you think it being virtual had a little bit of an aspect of like you feeling the comfortability to like take the next step, I guess?
I don't know whether because it was virtual, but at that point I was willing to do anything. I think it would have been okay in person too.
Yeah.
Because I was to that point. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
I had no hope whatsoever.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
But I just I could relate with that, how it chokes you up, and you just, finally you feel like you're a part of something, and, get all in.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's like that community that saved my life, just hopefully we can provide some of those experiences for some other people. You know what I mean? So giving back what was given us, that's
Yes.
the goal.
Yes.
And like with your group, are these the same friends that like you grew up with, or are these new friends that has joined your board?
Yeah, good question. So 2 of the 5 board members are guys that were in that sober living that I got clean with at the time. And they were the guys that were climbing buildings and jumping off cliffs into waterfalls with me. So like, I feel really, really lucky and blessed and fortunate that, some of that core group is still around and we're still doing this stuff together, and that, they've developed at the same rate and we've stayed close. Like I feel super blessed. And they're my best friends. We take family trips together now. We're going to Tennessee with all of our kids next week. So,
That's cool.
and the other 2 guys are just 2 guys that I felt had really good character and integrity and worked in the field. And they have an absolute love for the outdoors and rock climbing and things like that too. So they were just the perfect fit,
So with your nonprofit, so how do people connect with you? Like through social media, websites? What's the best way that they can connect with you?
Yeah, so the best way to connect right now is to, 1, follow the Facebook page or Instagram called the Recovery Explorers Club.
Okay.
The best way to be involved is to jump into the group page that we have, which is the Recovery Explorers Club community. But also on our website, there's like a contact us form. And if you shoot us an email, we keep you looped in on the outings that we're going to be doing, the next events, and all those other things too. So here shortly, we're going to send out forms to everyone so they can have like an official membership and be, a friend of the club or an explorer in the club, or even a guide, somebody that's in long-term recovery and has some, good outdoor experience or something like that too. So, but we'll let everybody know through the Facebook page. So that's the best way to be involved right now.
So it's just for men?
No, sorry if I keep saying that. No, it's for absolutely everybody.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's for anybody that considers themselves as being a person in recovery.
Okay. Because if it was just for men, I was going to say, I've been a tomboy all my life, so let me in.
It is for everybody. The door is wide open.
Yes. So if they connect with you, like, kind of tell us what steps, like, if they connect with you, are they going to be like meeting with you at the different events? Can they talk to you daily? Like, how does it kind of work with your nonprofit?
Yeah, so initially what we're going to do is try to host like monthly or every other month meetups. And we're doing one in Chillicothe in just a few weeks. So we're going to meet and we're going to go on a light hike. And then we're going to hang out and fellowship and process and see what the world has in store for that conversation. But really, I think bringing people together in that environment will do a lot of the heavy lifting. And then, so those will be like the smallest of events we'll do, or these meetups every month or two. And they'll be in different parts of the state, so different people can be involved. Then we hope to host trips, outings, gatherings, where maybe we go rock climbing or rappelling or whitewater rafting. And a lot of times we hope to take a handful of people out. Maybe some people that are in a program, we'd love to introduce them to a few hobbies. And then by the end of next year, we're hoping to have like a weekend retreat that we can host. So we want to do the whole spectrum of adventure, from like the simplest walk to the most extreme, for the entire spectrum of people in recovery, from newcomers to people that have decades too.
Yeah. So have you planned where the location is going to be in Chillicothe yet?
Yeah, well, in my mind, my board doesn't know this yet, but I have it pictured up here. I went on a winter hike out there last year, like I've done many times, but there's this area at the top of Great Seal State Park that's kind of surrounded by rock structures. I think that'd just be such a cool place to hike out and check out for a little bit and then hike back. So, of course, we all have to agree on it, but that's what I'm seeing in my head right now.
Yeah. So have you always been into like rock climbing and, jumping off cliffs? Has that always been your thing?
I've definitely always been into like adventure and, high risk activity, I guess. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it. But I was always into all that stuff. Even when I was young, I didn't really consider myself like an outdoorsman at the time, but I loved to do anything that was exciting or a cool hobby. I was definitely always into hiking and camping. But then when I got clean in 2017, I met a group of guys in recovery that were rock climbers, and I really fell in with them, and I love the energy, and it's very similar to the recovery community. Honestly, it's super accepting and very, very chill, and I love the energy. So I got into that, and then I had already been doing the cliff jumping and stuff, and I just came to this realization. I was like, oh my gosh, I can do whatever I want now. So it's like I can pick up every one of these hobbies. So I started just diving in head first, and I think that's like a character. I don't know if you want to call it a defect. It's a part of my character where I go all in when I go in. But so I was doing metal detecting, rock climbing, hiking, cliff jumping, anything I could get my hands on. And a lot of it turned from like the older I get, from like the more extreme activities to now it's most of it's really more mindful for me, and a lot slower pace. But yeah, I've always been into it. I've just never had it like be a core part of like filling my cup like it is now.
And I think that's amazing. I always talk about that because I'm like, when I was younger, just running and being hyper, jumping, all that. And then I realized my body is totally different than my mind. Sometimes they don't connect. I'm like, I could go jump off that. Well, my knees said no. My knees will get bad and they'll hit that ground. I'm like, we can't do that. But I'm
Yeah.
still a child at heart, and I'm like, I still want to do that. It's just my body's changed, I can't do it. So I
100%.
like you, I go head in. It's like, I don't think about it. I love zip lining. I love doing it all. I just don't think about it, If I thought about everything that I did, I wouldn't do anything, Everything could be scary,
Absolutely. And I totally get it. I actually, I got my first old man injury, I don't know, 3.5 years ago. I fell rock climbing actually, and I messed up my knee and I had to get surgery. So all those things that I really loved were taken away for a amount of time. But I think it was like a net positive journey. One, it shows me where my limits are, but two, it made me really have a good appreciation, a higher appreciation for like my physical body and my abilities, and like how special being able to do those things are, because things can be taken away. You never know what could happen. So it was a net positive mental trip, although I wouldn't suggest doing it ever again.
Yeah. So when you have bad days or things are just not working out, how do you, what do you do for yourself to get through that, to de-stress?
Yeah, for myself, I think what a bad cycle that I get in is like letting it build up and then going to the woods for 3 days. You know what I mean? So being aware of that, what I try to do is I make sure that I have physical activity. I know that your life is like, I imagine it in like a pie chart, right? And a lot of these things have to be equal. And when the work or the stress or whatever is becoming much bigger than self-care or family or any of those other pieces, then you're going to feel out of whack, right? So I really try to get physical activity in, even if it's like a light walk, a mile or two. But I'm fortunate enough to live across from a park that not a lot of people go to. So spending time out there, even if I don't want to, or I'm tired or stressed or exhausted, I make sure to get that self-care in. And I think it helps. One, you turn the head off, right? And mine goes a mile a minute. You turn the head off, but then you also get those physical endorphins. You can think more clearly. If I don't do it, I feel out of whack. So I'm in a pretty good groove of like making it a part of my habits now. Fortunately, I'm going to run a trail race in a couple weeks. So running has been a big part of my self-care lately. So
yeah. And I think self-care is hard. I always say, because like you help other people or you're doing amazing what you're doing. And then I think forget about yourself. I've learned how to really like schedule self-care. We talk about this all the time. I'm like, do I really take the time for myself, And I've had to schedule it like I was a child and putting a whole chore thing there because I won't take the time. I would just keep going and going. And then I get to the point like, okay, I'm done. I've got to stop. I'm no good to anybody else because I'm not taking care of myself. So I always call it the timeout. And on my podcast, Brady, you got to put yourself in timeout. You got to function, do what you got to do. So
good for you. I think it's so wise to just put it on the calendar and, whatever it's going to be, because honestly, you're better for yourself and your job and everybody else if you get that self-care in.
Well, and that's what I said. I was like, I am always the person. I'm like, I'll just get up and go. Never had anything scheduled. So me getting more organized the older I get was such a chore at first because I'm just used to just going. So taking that time for myself, settling down is really helped me a lot. So it's a big one.
Yeah. Good for you. And honestly, it's such a great lesson for everybody in recovery. It's easy to get swept up in like I got to get everything back. I got to be working. I got to be making money and doing all that too. But like, part of why we did this was to build this beautiful dream life where you can have experiences and passions. And so I think honestly, those parts are just as important as the other parts.
Yeah.
And I think about patience a lot because I know for me, when I think about how long I was in addiction and, I can't expect to get all that stuff back in one day. It took a long time to get where I was at. It may take me a long time to get there, but if I'm putting one foot in front of the other and doing something every day, I'm going to get where I want to be.
I love that. And one of my favorite sayings is if you get 1% better every day, then by the end of the year, you're a few 100% better. So it's like, yeah, one foot in front of the other. It's easy to get overwhelmed with the things. And another one of my favorite sayings is comparison is the thief of joy. And
Oh, yeah.
in early recovery, I fell into that too, seeing all like my normie friends that grew up and didn't necessarily go through addiction or whatever. It's like, man, well, they're here. That's where I got to get. And it's not healthy. And it takes if you really live in the moment and you do all these beautiful things that fall into place, it's such a fun journey. You know what I mean? And it's so beautiful, and you make real relationships and you do really cool things. So it's like, if I could relay one thing to everybody, it's like, man, just enjoy the ride,
Yes. Yes. And I love that you have a positive attitude, going through so many trials and different things in life. I've met a lot of people and like even me, have my own story, just being positive. And, I could have been bitter and angry and everything, but I'm like, I need to make the world a better place, and for myself, it helps me feel safe and just, work on myself when I'm helping others and spreading that, not negativity. And so I love that you're saying that.
Yeah, thank you. And likewise, I think that one of the only ways we build self-esteem is by like doing esteemable acts, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if someone that's out there struggling right now, what advice would you give them, or a tip or a quote? We always ask everybody, like, is there anything that you would like to share that could help someone else?
I think for anybody that's struggling, at any point, and if it's early recovery, if it's in active addiction, I think just know that, like, even though it seems monumental and insurmountable, like a beautiful life with beautiful experiences is like, it's possible. It's absolutely always possible. And all of us are like an absolute testament to that. And I've been in those same places, in those same feelings, and like, enjoy the journey, and beautiful things will happen.
Yes, that's
said.
yeah.
Well said.
Oh, exactly. And thank you for, your nonprofit. And I mean, we definitely are going to share it, talk about it, because I love your ideal. I love what you're doing, and I think more people need to be aware of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on our events. Chillicothe has some incredible places to hike and explore, and a really great recovery community. So we hope to be doing a lot down that way.
Cool.
Well, yes. I mean, well, thank you for coming on, and yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes.
Good to
Thank
see
you
you, Brad.
so much.
Take care.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.